I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Tom Jackson. He is one of the best guys I know with the SAR. I know several of them. Tom is a Texas State SAR president, 2018-2019. He's also the president of the Council of State Presidents at the national level. Most recently, he served as chair of the host society of the 2018-19 National SAR Congress, which was held in Houston. That was a great conference. He has been a member of the SAR since 2004 with 12 proven patriots. First-line signer on 30 SAR applications. He has proven 41 SAR patriots for his son. National recognitions include the Carl F. Besant Award Aide-de-Camp. He is an avid amateur genealogist belonging to over 20 other lineage societies serving at both state and national level. Professionally, he has a CPA, CGMA, and a CISA. Both his undergraduate and graduate studies were at the University of Texas at Austin. Majority of his career has been employed as Chief Financial Officer of companies, public and private. He has published in his two primary areas of study. He has taught at the university level. He is in his 30th year of elected public service. He is currently serving his 8th year as trustee with Cypress Fairbanks ISD, the largest suburban district in the United States. He has attained master trustee status and was one of 42 trustees who served the state of Texas. He has 3 children and 3 grandchildren. I'd like to welcome Tom.
President Watts, Judge, Chancellor, Tracy Pounders, Vice President Lovell. In the words of Thomas Jefferson, I am well pleased to be here. Yeah. The Dallas area is the nexus of leadership and strength for the Society of the Sons of the American Revolution in Texas. If you look, as John Greer has, at the source of our presidents, many have come from this area, and I applaud you for that. I heard you talk about that you wished you had more in attendance. I'm well pleased with your attendance. From my view, as long as one of us stands in remembrance of the founding of our country, we all still stand for America. A couple of thoughts I want to share with you, and I'll try and move away from the podium. I'm not accustomed to being tethered, but my voice may not be strong enough. I have spoken to about 15,000 children and adults over the past 15 years. What most of the kids think is either I wear a Civil War uniform or I'm a pirate. I love being called a pirate because I think Johnny Depp is way cool, and I'm fascinated that the kids would think I look like Johnny Depp. I always like to remind us of what our primary goals are. As John Greer would tell you, there are 4 Texans who went on to become president of these United States. I asked First Vice President Van Fossen, but also President Bill Watts, if I could share this very brief vignette with you.
George Herbert Walker was America's last great soldier statesman, a 20th century founding father. Let me tell you, George Bush was president of the United States of America. Every single head of government in the world knew that they were dealing with a genuine leader, one who was distinguished, resilient, and brave. He was a man of such great humility. Those who travel the high road of humility in Washington, D.C. are not bothered by heavy traffic. And he had a very serious
he was close to perfect, but not totally perfect. His short game was lousy. So through our tears, let us know the blessings of knowing and loving you, a great and noble man, the best father a son or daughter could have. And in our grief, let us smile on that Dad is hugging Mom and holding Mom's hand with him.
Some have said in the last few days this is an end of an era, but it does not have to be. Perhaps it's an invitation to fill the hole that has been left behind. If you want to honor him, and if you call yourself a daughter or a son of God, love God, love your neighbor. There's no greater mission on planet Earth.
Father sent me home, and the time's not true. This truth, lifetime's not true. This
Well, I can always do it the old-fashioned way, right? Thank you for permitting me to share that with you. John Greer, several years ago, when I was staff secretary, said, "Tom, we need to do something about something about the notable individuals from Texas who are members of our organization." And I said, "John, you're exactly right." And he has been on this mission ever since. But names keep popping up. So we all know that Bill Clements was a member. He, in fact, brought in one of the state presidents, Bob Clark. Fairly interesting, right? But take a look at the rest of these names. The largest dorm at the University of Texas is called Jester Dorm, after the Jester family. Governor Ross Sterling is a member. John just found him out this very year. Ross Sterling, founder of Sterling Bank, but also one of the founders of Humboldt Oil. John and I, in the past few days, have identified the fact that Governor Hogg is, in fact, descended from a patriot. In all likelihood, Ima was a member of the DAR. Sadly, the DAR has closed the Hogg line, because when Ima got in, it was all by affidavit of who you knew. We are working on Governor Abbott. We have identified that he does in fact have a patriot ancestor, but proving the pathway between the late 1700s and about 1805 is proving challenging, because there's 5 different people with the same name. As every president does, I had certain initiatives and objectives to try and introduce in the scant 12 months I have to serve you. Obviously, the very top one is that of membership. I would like for us to move our membership from sustainable, which is where we are, to being robust. The difference is, being sustainable, we exist, we impact education, we impact patriotism. Being robust is what the daughters are. Here in the state of Texas, there are 6 times our size. They hit 10 times the number of schools, because their membership is more robust. To do this, I'm asking us to try and focus to have year-over-year 5% growth. That doesn't sound like an unachievable objective. We always bring into our society 300 or 400 people each and every year. And each and every year we always lose 300 or 400 people. A keystone of this concept, and I'm great. I'm really like Thomas Jefferson and Winston Churchill. I love to steal other people's ideas and put them into print. I think it's a great practice. So borrowing upon what Dr. Bob Cohen and Dr. Jane Cohen put together 3 years ago, they conceived of the DAR Finder Form. First contest was held last year. Texas finished first. And I have chatted with Home Office, and once again, it looks like we will finish first in the nation for the largest number of DAR Finder Forms. The impact of it is last year, half of all of our members came to us with help from the ladies. I have now started something different that I hope my successors will follow. I am now going to the DAR meetings to make a presentation to those ladies. The impact you would not believe. I asked for 3 minutes, but as Judge Pounders know, any good elected official will always take more time than you're allocated, right? So I used 6 or 7. The response is superb. We're planting seeds, and I hope those ladies who asked for a copy of that Finder Form will in fact bring us their sons, their brothers, their husbands. One other aspect. Do I have anybody here from East Fork Trinity?
Oh, yeah.
If you notice up here, the very first item that I said that we had to do to be able to increase membership is have a tracking system. East Fork Trinity, if you take a look at their newsletter, has in fact established that tracking system. They have about 2 or 3 pages of potential members, and you stay on top of it. Without a tracking system, you can't follow up. But if you publish what you're doing and who you're tracking, the results will be superb. So hats off to East Fork Trinity. A pet peeve of mine, being in the education field, is at the national level, I hear my compatriots continually say, our public schools are not teaching American history the way it should be. And I always tell them, you go talk to the elected officials in your state and make your complaints. Don't talk to the public schools. One of them called me a communist, one of them has called me a socialist, and that's okay. In my 30th year, I've been called all kinds of names on the campaign trail. But the fact of the matter is, the state of Texas tells public schools who to teach and what to study. And that is no different from Texas to Arkansas to Missouri. And so I posited, when P.G. Lawrence was sitting PG, that every state should identify what the curriculum is from K through 12. Nobody took up the banner. I decided if I talk it, I have to walk it. So I went ahead, and if you take a look at our website, I have a section that explains what TEKS are. Anybody in here in the public school arena or have children who taught at the public school level? A few. So you know what TEKS are for the state of Texas. An explanation is now posted on our website, and then I have 3 buttons. Elementary, middle, and high school is what the TEKS are that require us to teach our children. Quick run through for National Congress. We opened at the Czech Museum, Best in Class Award from the rank and file attendees. It was absolutely amazing. The ladies were in charge of it. I gave them my ideas, and they said, Tom, those are really bad ideas. And so I said, fine, you do it. And they did it, and it was superb. Catherine Massey is only the 2nd person in our organization ever to receive the Silver Congress Appreciation Medal. In January, I will go to their meeting in River Oaks to present the medal to her in the presence of the Alexander DAR chapter once again. We also received best-in-class accolades for our registration. Significant, if you see our welcome table, our color guard came up with that idea, and they said, we want to stand here with color guard members for the entire 6 days. And I thought, golly, how are you going to get people to be there for 12-hour shifts 6 days in a row? Let me tell you something. The color guard came through in a big way. As soon as our 400 guests walked in, they saw the color guard table. It was magnificent. But more than that, behind the scenes, we had people, and you'll see David Temple up there, who stuffed the bags for registration, but also stuffed what we call the swag bags, right? Y'all know what swag is. Stuff we all get. That Saturday, we started 2 tours. Bush 41. I complained to Bob Cohen. People were so impressed with the Bush 41 tour. Not only did they tell me about it that day, and I'm working the event, right? So it's nice that people want to talk to me, but I have things I have to do. They were telling me about it all the way when I was trying to leave the hotel. There were 3 SAR members left at the hotel. Paul Callanan, myself, and this couple from Washington in this car. I'm packing up. I have my caddy there. I'm getting ready to pull out, and this car pulls in front of me, and I'm thinking, great. Did I hit your door? I don't remember doing it. The woman gets out, and I'm thinking, great. Now I have an angry lady to deal with. I'm tired, 16-hour days. All I want to do is go home, and she says, Tom, I don't recognize her, but somehow she knows my name. I want you to know that we had the best time of any Congress here in Houston. And the Bush 41 people tell them they did a whale of a job. And they did. But more than that, I heard this when I went to South Central in Missouri. I heard it again in Louisville for fall leadership. P.G. Lawrence is in a van waiting for me downstairs. I'm running late like I always run. Tom Whitelock will tell you that. I'm trying to get on the elevator. I had to make stops with people before I left. I'm walking in. Somebody grabs me by the collar of my coat, pulls me out of the elevator. And I'm thinking, golly, grabbing me by my collar? Am I getting ready to be in a fight? Tom, tell the folks back in Texas, we thoroughly enjoyed the Congress. Best one I've ever attended. We gave our people 2 options. You can either go to Bush 41 or you can go to the Space Center. The mayor of Nassau Bay came. The lady who has been in charge of training astronauts for 30 years came to speak. Interesting, we have very few female astronauts, but the person in charge of training was a female. Tremendous accolades for that, but also tremendous accolades to the Galvez chapter. They did a whale of a job. And then, of course, there's the host reception. We had competing visions for this. We put it to the Board of Managers. Your elected representatives made this decision. Some of the highlights. We brought in a pin of Texas Longhorns. When I said we had to have it, everybody thought I was crazy. I am crazy. But let me tell you something. The folks from up east loved them, but the ones who got the biggest kick were our compatriots and their wives from France and those from Hawaii.
Yeah.
We had Texas singers who were there, brought to us by the Society of the War of 1812. We also auctioned off a Texas ranch, and the winner of the Texas ranch was none other than the wife of P.G. Alter. We also had Judge Pounders. You should know that both at Bush 41, but also here at the host reception, we inducted 2 more judges. And I have have charged John Greer with preparing a list for our website of all the judges in Texas who are members of the SAR. We just have the wife of former National Regent Young. He won re-election, judge of Collin County. But something else that we did that's never been done. This is a pop-up, right? It's kind of old hat, it's old marketing. So we had all of our wine and beer donated to us. We started with a seed donation from Yano, which is out there in Lubbock where Texas Tech is. And they said, we'll give you 5 cases. And I said, that's not enough for 600 people. 5 cases is all we'll do. But we'll give you something else. They gave us one of their pop-ups. You can't read it. You're too far away from the screen, so I'll tell you what it says. Brave men didn't die at the Alamo to sip California wine. Now, the California people looked a little cheeky about it. Everybody else loved it and had their picture taken by it. We also, for the first time in Congress, had a green screen photo booth. You had 4 different images of Texas, and you could have your picture taken behind it. We also, for the first time ever, pulled out a step and repeat. Anybody here know what a step and repeat is? So if you go to say a chamber event, often to a football event, there will be a 6x8 piece of vinyl. And it has repeating logos on it. So our logo, we have the great state of Texas, a star where National Congress was. And of course, since we're Texas, we had 2 different logos, right? Our logos were running across. And so chapters could go and have their picture taken standing in front of it, as did others. P.G. White and his wife were in charge. For those of y'all who have never been to a memorial service at National Congress, it is in fact moving. We had over 600 people in the congregation. You'll notice in the top that's President Bob Cohen. He's carrying the Texas flag. Carrying the Texas flag is a high honor at National Congress. Despite the fact that he was president about 5 terms ago, this was the first time he ever carried the Texas flag. We always have a color guard breakfast before the memorial session. Something else that we did, stealing a page out of the book of P.G. Nathan White, is we awarded a Gold Good Citizenship Medal. Your board of managers in here know about it because they voted on it. Who here knows who Mattress Mac is? A couple. Mattress Mac was one of the 1,000 points of light from President Bush. Mattress Mac has been recognized, Jim McIngvale, who also has a revolutionary ancestor, has been recognized by a total of 5 different presidents. He came and spoke to us at the opening. He brought the house down. Standing ovation on his way out. Judge Cagle also came. Judge Cagle is also on our target list. Commissioner, his part of Harris County, of which he's a commissioner, is large. If it were a separate city, would be in the top 20. 1.4 million constituents. And of course, Dave McLeod, his daughter out of the Tyler chapter, won first place in the essay contest. And then as Congress ended after the black tie events, we had a couple of tours. One of which was San Jacinto. Somehow, President Tom Green was able to take 60 some odd people to San Jacinto in 100-degree heat, and they loved the experience. I thought it was absolutely crazy. He said, Tom, don't worry about it. We got this. And lo and behold, they did. The other tour that we offered the same day was to the Museum District. P.T. Lawrence was in charge of it. And they primarily had 2 choices. Museum of Fine Arts, Museum of Natural Science. Now the folks from up east, we said, when you go to natural science, don't touch the dinosaurs, right? Golly, I mean, look what happened. It'll never be the same. A quick rundown. I won't spend much time. What founders do we study at the high school level? We all know the study of American history now starts after Reconstruction. That would say we don't study any founders. Take a look here. Here are 7 founders who our children are required to study at the high school level, even though they were founders, and the study of American history starts in the late 1800s. So at least in Texas, we have not forgotten to study our founders. But let me take a look at, we also know about our fathers very quickly. Anybody know who the father of the counterintelligence is? John Jay. Who here has been to the National Archives? Right, so when you walk in, you see 2 massive 40-foot long murals by Barry Faulkner. They're absolutely amazing. When I talk to school kids, I always bring up paintings. The paintings are, in fact, they have a message. They're very evocative. Very quickly, you'll notice the man with the sword, the only one with the sword out of all the founders there, that's that hothead, Colonel Alexander Hamilton. So take a look here. Of the founders that our children are supposed to study post-Reconstruction, who is the father of American medicine? Do I have any physicians in the room? Benjamin Rush. You're entirely correct. Yes, sir. Our children have to study about Benjamin Rush. Who was general of the Black Rose? Reverend Pounders is in here, so I know he already knows the answer, but I suspect not many of the rest of you do. General Muhlenberg. He was also a reverend. He did, in fact, give, as lore has it, his last sermon from the pulpit, and basically commanded every able-bodied man in his congregation to join the cause. If you take a look at the list here, Reverend Charles Carroll is also on it, a Catholic leader who joined the cause, picking up arms. Very quickly, some of the founders that are required to be studied in government class at the high school level that many of us know nothing about. One is James Wilson. He committed absolute treason. He wrote that the power to rule does not come from God to the king to Parliament, but that the power to rule comes from the people, up to their elected representatives. You know the phrase, no taxation without representation? You go back to this man. I won't read everything, but if you were close enough to see what I have highlighted, you will see that virtually every significant aspect of the Constitution is tied to what this man wrote. He is considered to be second only to Madison as having the greatest impact upon our Constitution. Our children study him. I dare say the rest of us when we were in high school did not. James Wilson, a firebrand, he was like Icarus. He soared high. The sun melted his wings. He died a pauper. He spent time in debtor's jail and died with virtually nobody at his burial. I am glad that here in Texas our children remember James Wilson. One other name. Who here knows who George Mason is, right? They almost won the NCAA championship. They beat Connecticut. They beat Michigan. They were the Cinderella team. George Mason, very quickly, is known as the father of the Bill of Rights. You would be amazed at how many of our compatriots are unaware of him, but our school children have to study him. And the last I want to mention to you is Hamilton and the impact of art and music on the American Revolution. You will recall that the Treasurer of the United States was pushing to have Hamilton taken off the $10 bill. President Obama's family went to New York. They saw the play. President Obama did not. But he visited with the cast after the musical. Thereafter, we don't know what happened, but all we know is the treasurer decided to stop his campaign to remove Hamilton from the 10 and instead focus on Andrew Jackson. Many of my compatriots who have seen Hamilton the musical did not like it. I loved it. Except for the skin color, everything else was absolutely historically accurate. The rap music of the Americans is contrasted with the staid, old, slow music of the British. You even had revolutionary music in it. But in that musical, they talk about him being an immigrant. He's advised smile more. They talk about him being young and brash. And they identify his conflict with Jefferson as well. Hamilton was an amazing person. He made friends at the highest levels, and he repudiated each and every one of them, including George Washington. And so that concludes my presentation. I know I've gone over time. I apologize. But you knew I was a politician before I took the floor in front of you. Thank you ever so much. I will remind you that for National Congress, you gave us authority to spend up to $38,000. We tried to be good stewards of your money. The Internal Audit Department of the State Society reviewed our spending, and they concluded we came in $14,000 under budget.
All right.
In addition, big kudos go to P.G. White. His wife did all the centerpieces for under $200. Tennessee used $5,000. Carolina used $12,000 for the centerpieces. $200 is magnificent. She was supported by the ladies. In addition, P.G. Lawrence used his political capital and got us $5,000 of free county buses. The Texas Society did a tremendous job. I'll close with one last comment. You know, they tell the story of a teacher who came to a town, and this teacher, and many, and I think I would too, say he was a great teacher, but he chose to ride the back of a donkey when he went to this town. And when he came into the town, everybody stood up and cheered and waved. That donkey heard those cheers. That donkey never for a minute thought those cheers were for him. And so in a similar fashion, although I have heard cheers from across our nation, I don't for a minute think those cheers were for what I did. Those cheers are instead for what you, the Texas Society, through your presence and your contributions, have done. So I thank you and I salute you.
Tom?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Tom?
Yes, sir. While they're looking for paperwork, I would also like to give accolades to your President, Bill Watts. He engaged on a pathway that has changed the nature and course of our National Museum. He looked at a concept called augmented reality. And he pushed it and he showed how augmented reality can in fact have a place. All museums in the future will have augmented reality. What that means is you go to a famous painting by Trumbull, say of Washington crossing the Delaware, you put your iPhone or Android device up to it, you push a software button, and all of a sudden the painting comes alive and talks to you. They're already doing this in Europe. They tend to be ahead of us a little bit more on museums. But because of your chapter president, Bill Watts, he has changed the course of our National Museum. We all are seeds, are pebbles being dropped in a pond. We never know what impact we have. But Bill, I want to say thank you for having done that.
It was fun. We'd like to present you with a certificate. Thank you. And we also have, get this way, man. We also have, and
Oh my goodness.
let me read what it says. Thomas I. Jackson, as your wings take flight next year, as Dallas chapter compatriots wish to express their appreciation for your long and outstanding service to our SAR Society.
Thank you ever so much. Let me turn it around.
Something, wait a minute, I'm not through yet. And something that I just came across a couple months ago, the National Society has issued a challenge coin for our 250th anniversary. And I was able to acquire a couple, and I'd like to hopefully be the first person, first chapter in Texas or nationwide to present you with a challenge coin for the 250th anniversary.
And indeed you are.
Thank you
sir.
very much.
And as long
This is
as,
from a chapter.
as long as we talk about challenge coins, see, I'll keep talking even during photo ops. I'm shameless. Remember, I have a box of Texas challenge coins. For a donation of just one Hamilton, you get one challenge coin. We aren't selling these because we don't pay sales tax. But if you make a donation of at least one Hamilton, you'll get one challenge coin. If you want to give us 10 Hamiltons, it's your choice. Do you want one challenge coin or 10? So all I need is one Hamilton. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.